One of the things that popped up for me recently that felt appropriate to share tonight was the idea of struggling with cynicism. Has anyone here or out there listening on video ever struggled with cynicism? Okay, I'll let you knit with your hands down your line. No. It's, I really feel like it's like a rite of passage for people who are hyper intelligent. If you're super intelligent, you get to that point, especially I remember being, teenager, young adult, and it's like all of a sudden like, oh, what idiots, how could they do that? Why are they wearing that? Why do they say that? Why do they think that? And it's something that is really, can become, I believe, a pitfall if you're not careful, because you get into this repetition of sort of judging and being cynical about things that are different than you, or you view as stupid or don't quite understand. And cynicism, it really is a joy thief. If you're feeding your inner cynic, you're really starving yourself of grace. And the reason that is because what you give, you're going to ultimately receive, right? We're all one with the source consciousness that creates and animates all things. I am you, you are me. If I'm being cynical all the time, if I'm judging all the time, what's going to happen, right? That's how the universe is going to turn around. It's all mirrors around here. It's all reflections. And so for me, that became a pretty big obstacle on my journey early on, was to overcome that inner cynic. And I still, have my moments, as some of you who know me better than others, we all have those moments. And the key is really just getting back up and saying, hold on, what am I doing? What am I thinking? And what perspectives can I take on that help me to shift that inner cynic? For me, one of the things that's really helped a lot, are any of you guys familiar with the short story, The Egg? Yeah. Anyone out there? Yes. I love The Egg. If you haven't seen it, it's a short story by Andy Weir. You can go and also there's a great YouTube video. Actually, I think there's a few of them, but one of them in particular, really, really good, about 10 minutes or so. And basically, my idea of how reality is structured is very similar. My own, BBB 3D theory of how things are structured is very similar to The Egg. And what I challenge you guys to consider, and for some people out there listening, it's probably more challenging than others to look at reality in this way, but we look at our organized religions and so forth, and if you really think about it, the fact that we're here at all is pretty darn strange, right? So any theory that someone puts forward, is it any weirder than the fact that we're all sitting here right now in these bio bodysuits, like having this conversation, or you out there at home? We've just gotten really accustomed to, oh, it's normal, right? So the theory that I subscribe to is this idea that we're all one. We're all one with Source, God, higher self, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And at some point, we decided we were the adventuresome ones. We wanted to hatch off, if you will, into soul pods, eggs off of Source, and play a game called physical reality, 3D reality. And when we did that, being the infinite creator spirits that we are, we decided to create all these characters, all these avatars. Every one of you out there listening, every one of you here in this room is a character, an avatar that was thought up. And it has certain trajectories or potentialities, right? Like this character, Brandon Beecham, can do a lot of different things, a lot of different potentials, other than maybe even standing here and doing this show. Some of which, more likely than others. Probably not too many versions of reality where this avatar plays center for the Los Angeles Lakers, but you never know. God's pretty vast, but probably not. So, they all have certain vibrational resonance or trajectory as potentialities, right? So what I believe happens is when we start, we hatch off of Source and we say, okay, I'm this little individuated soul. I want to play the game of 3D reality. I'm going to start at the beginning, just like the video game where you start with, nothing. You got your fish. You don't even have the wooden sword yet, right? And you go through and you play these different characters, and you start out and you're the caveman, or the person who's really scratching it out, who doesn't, we've all looked around and seen those people when you're thinking, like, this person just hasn't figured out really anything yet. Well, what I'm, and that's where the cynicism can come in. But what if, you're able to perceive that because you've already been through it, and they're at a different point in their journey than you are, right? So once you start to take on this idea that, okay, you start off on your physical journey and you start at the beginning and you play every role. Like the Egg talks about, it's like, you were Hitler and all the people he killed. You are Gandhi and all the people that he helped, you know, and it's a little intimidating and mind-boggling to think about playing every character throughout, you know, but eternity is pretty intimidating if you think about it, like, right? Like a zillion lifetimes and you haven't begun yet because there's eternity ahead of you. So, you know, it really is, you know, it's mind-boggling and fascinating to consider. Like every time you go back, you pass back over to the other side. Okay, you leveled up, you learned these lessons, you learned these particular things, right? And now you're a vibrational match to be, you know, Brandon Beecham, or a Viking in the 1200s, or this other character, someone in the 21st century. And you get to step into the characters as you are a vibrational match for them based off of the journey you've taken up to that point. So now if you think about when you sat across the table from someone and had an argument and they did something really foul or really screwed up, maybe you already played that role, and when you were playing that role, another soul was in your avatar and has now went on, and this is the way it goes. So I look at someone like my father as an example. We have the same birthday. I have a lot of synchronicity around my birthday, and one of them is, you know, we both have the birthday July 28th. He's very spiritual. Very, you know, both of us are very tapped into our spirituality, but in very different ways. His is very conservative, fear-based, hell and brimstone, you know. And I look at it, and just him, knowing him as well as I do, it's like, oh, I think I already played that role, you know? And when I was playing that role, someone else was playing Brandon, and that will continue. And maybe one day the soul that is in his avatar will be in this seat, and someone else will be in Roger, which is his name, right? So the reason I share this perspective, because once you start playing with this idea, when you're sitting in a circle or interacting with someone and it gets challenging, and you now start thinking about, maybe, you know, they're acting in a way that I see as being a lower choice or not very evolved or elevated. Maybe you've already been there, done that, and figured out that lesson, and they're still figuring it out. So this perspective really helped me to shift my cynicism and looking at, you know, viewing reality as this idea of everywhere I go, I'm there waiting for myself. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that for you guys as something to ponder and chew upon. And as we continue down the rabbit hole of discussion tonight, you know, remembering, you know, our ignorance is really equivalent to the degree we judge. So letting all that go is really the key to expediting your evolution, in my opinion.